stuff Nalissa Smith's brother was saying last year is not a knock on Nalissa Smith. It is not like players' families do not speak for them. But I mean this when I say this. If you are a member of the Indiana Fever, please make sure your family does not have Twitter fingers because this is going to happen. So this is a post here talking about this. Clark's delusional fans stay mad and call me all the names in the book, but we all saw, including y'all.
Recent social media activity involving family members of Indiana Fever players has sparked controversy within the basketball community. The situation mirrors previous incidents that occurred with other team members' relatives, creating ongoing tension around player relationships and team dynamics. Similar patterns emerged during previous seasons when family members of other players made public statements about teammates. Those situations typically occurred after seasons concluded and involved specific players, representing isolated incidents rather than ongoing issues. The current circumstances present a different dynamic occurring during active competition periods. Important clarification must be established regarding the players themselves.
Including y'all, who carries my Fever team? We all know who the offense should be ran through. Whether you like it or not, these two players can win some games without Clark, but Clark can't win a single game without them. Clark has not played a single game in her career without either Kelsey Mitchell or Aaliyah Boston, so nobody knows. I mean that. Nobody knows. Can Clark win without Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell? Maybe. Nobody knows. But Clark has not won a single game. And by the way, we all know that this team is 4-7 without Caitlin Clark and 8-5 with Caitlin Clark. Big difference. They played 13 games with
Neither Kelsey Mitchell nor Aaliyah Boston should face criticism for these external comments. Both athletes demonstrate exceptional performance levels and maintain professional relationships with their teammates. Clear evidence shows these players share common championship goals and work collaboratively toward team success. The fundamental principle remains that family members do not represent players' personal views or positions. However, when relatives of team members engage in public criticism through social media platforms, it creates potential complications for team chemistry and public perception. Professional athletes and their organizations benefit when family members exercise discretion in their online communications.
They played 13 games with Caitlin Clark. They're 8-5. They've played 11 games without Caitlin Clark. They're 4-7. And they've had a harder... Actually, I would say the probably strength of schedule is about even. Strength of schedule is about even. With Caitlin Clark, they're 3-1, or they're 2-1 against the Atlanta Dream. They're 1-1 against the Liberty. Without Caitlin Clark, they're 0-2 against the Liberty. Without Caitlin, in fairness, they're better against the Aces without Caitlin Clark, I guess. They got a fluke.
Recent social media posts have generated discussion about team performance and individual contributions. Comments suggested that certain players carry the team's offensive responsibilities and question the value of specific teammates. These statements claim particular players could achieve victories without others, while asserting the reverse scenario would be impossible. Statistical analysis reveals more complex team dynamics than these simplified claims suggest. The Indiana Fever's record shows notable differences in performance with and without certain players. When playing with their full roster including Clark, the team achieved an 8-win, 5-loss record across 13 games.
Win the Commissioner's Cup. And then Kelsey Mitchell's sister, I gotta agree. Kelsey Mitchell's sister, and like this is the one that I don't understand. Kelsey Mitchell's sister, I don't know who this person is, interacting positively with a person who said it's time to start talking about how Caitlin Clark is ruining Fever momentum. With her, I don't see them making the playoffs. When she was out, I could see them upsetting New York's and Minnesota in the playoffs. Yeah, no. They lost to a New York Liberty team that trolled for 2.5 quarters and played at 20% speed, and they just got up to 70%.
Without Clark's participation, they managed 4 wins against 7 losses over 11 contests. The strength of schedule appeared relatively consistent between these periods, though specific matchup results varied significantly. Against teams like the Atlanta Dream, performance improved with full roster availability. Liberty matchups showed contrasting results depending on lineup configurations. Some victories during player absences occurred in special tournament contexts rather than regular season competition. Additional family members became involved in the controversy through social media interactions.
70% speed and destroyed them. But, like, Fever are winning 8 out of 13 when they're playing. Like, that's obvious. That is absolutely obvious. When families both come out on social media to dog Caitlin, I think about what's being said behind closed doors. Look, I don't think there's anything said behind closed doors. But the problem is that, again, if family keep talking, that's what's going to happen. Like, that's the type of thing that's going to really start to, that could end up pissing off the locker room, where people get pissed and start showing.
Mitchell's sister engaged positively with posts criticizing Clark's impact on team momentum and playoff prospects. These interactions suggested that Clark's absence might improve championship chances, claiming better potential outcomes against top-tier opponents like New York and Minnesota. However, game evidence contradicts these assertions. Recent performances against the Liberty demonstrated that even when opposing teams operated at reduced intensity levels initially, they could easily overwhelm the Fever when increasing their effort. The statistical reality shows improved winning percentages when operating with complete rosters. The broader concern involves potential locker room implications when family members engage in public player criticism.
People get pissed and start showing, and showing all, like, and like getting angry at this. At the end of the day, look, the players, I think this is a tight-knit group. I don't think the players are letting the fans affect them. I think Alyssa Smith did last year. I think Kelsey Mitchell knows she gets easier shots when Caitlin Clark is there. I think Kelsey Mitchell knows they don't win if Caitlin Clark's not there. I think she knows, and I think Aaliyah Boston knows that. Aaliyah Boston, by the way, the quality of looks she gets with Caitlin Clark is scary. The quality of looks that she gets.
While current team relationships appear strong and unified, continued external commentary could eventually create internal tensions. Past situations with other teams showed how family social media activity sometimes reflected or influenced behind-the-scenes dynamics. Professional athletes generally understand that fan opinions and family perspectives don't necessarily impact their performance or relationships. Mitchell likely recognizes how her scoring opportunities improve with enhanced offensive systems. Boston probably understands how her shooting quality increases with better ball movement and court spacing created by teammates. Comparison situations highlight double standards and public reactions.
Scary. The quality of looks that she gets. But the only thing is, imagine, Connor McCaffrey, I'm not joking. He liked the tweet defending Caitlin Clark after Angel Reese jumped up and started clapping. He liked the tweet. For all we know, we've all liked tweets accidentally. We all know. I assume he did. But, let's be real. His girlfriend got, if it was on the street, assaulted by another player, and then another player jumped up and...
When family members or associates of other players engage in supportive behavior, they face intense scrutiny and criticism. Simple social media interactions like liking posts defending teammates after controversial incidents result in severe backlash and demands for public apologies. Historical examples show how relatives of certain players faced extreme criticism for basic defensive responses to concerning incidents. Even mild complaints about officiating resulted in forced post deletions and widespread condemnation. Family members expressing normal protective instincts toward athletes experiencing rough play received harsh treatment from critics. The contrast becomes apparent when examining reactions to different family situations.
The street assaulted by another player, and then another player jumped up and celebrated it, and he liked a tweet against the other player. And then they called him a racist for it. They called him all the names under the bus. If Connor McCaffrey was out here tweeting anti-Kelsey Mitchell or or if Connor, or not it, or Colin Clark, if he was out there tweeting anti-Kelsey Mitchell or Aaliyah Boston stuff, could you imagine? Could you imagine what would be happening? Could you imagine if they were tweeting out CZ8 so forth? Just look at the record. It is.
Some relatives face immediate demands for silence and accountability, while others engage in direct teammate criticism with minimal consequences. This inconsistency creates problematic precedents for how family involvement should be managed across different situations. Statistical context provides important perspective on individual contributions and team success. Mitchell's career-winning percentage before certain teammates arrived.
Great job stat pad in garbage time, Kelsey. But again, I'm not going to blame Kelsey for that game because she at least tried. According to ESPN, Caitlin Clark was a DMP coach's decision. At least Kelsey Mitchell tried. Aaliyah Boston, not going to question her effort. Natasha Howard is just watch Natasha Howard play basketball, and I just don't know.
She demonstrates exceptional finishing abilities and scoring prowess when properly utilized within offensive systems. However, her effectiveness varies considerably depending on how teams structure their offensive approaches and player roles. Two distinct versions of Mitchell's impact emerge based on system design. When functioning as a finisher within structured offensive schemes, she contributes significantly to winning basketball. When operating primarily through isolation plays and volume shooting, her statistics may not translate to team success despite individual production. The distinction between different player roles becomes crucial for understanding team dynamics.
I actually just don't know. Ari McDonald, like, she has to play 31 minutes because Sid Colson is not a basketball player. Sid Colson spent too much time at the weekend at her comedy shows and forgot how to play the sport of basketball. Like, Ari McDonald is a fine backup point guard, but she has become the most selective, the genuinely most selective.
Elite finishers provide essential contributions to championship-level teams, but their effectiveness depends heavily on supporting cast members who create advantageous situations. Running offensive systems through different players produces varying results based on their primary skill sets. Current roster construction presents challenges when key playmakers are unavailable. The front office preparation for rotation scenarios appears inadequate, forcing reliance on isolation basketball rather than systematic approaches. This creates situations where individual statistics may not reflect actual team improvement or championship potential. The ongoing controversy ultimately highlights the importance of family discretion in professional sports environments.
Passer I've ever seen. She's the most selective passer I've ever seen. She will only pass the ball to some players, which is why she's become so turnover prone. The Indiana Fever committed 1, 5, 10, 14, 17, 18, 19 turnovers as a team. 19 turnovers. Some of them were just passes out of bounds. Like, it is...
While relatives naturally support their athlete family members, public criticism of teammates creates unnecessary complications for professional relationships and team chemistry. Organizations benefit when all associated parties maintain appropriate boundaries in their public communications. Team success requires collaborative efforts from all roster members, with each player contributing specific skills toward common goals. External commentary that attempts to diminish certain contributions while elevating others undermines the collective approach necessary for championship pursuits. Professional environments function best when focus remains on basketball performance rather than social media controversies.
It is crazy. Like, you've got... Like, it's actually crazy. It is actually crazy. Like, it is... Like, the Liberty. Leo Phoebish, fantastic. The freaking GOAT role player. The GOAT role player. There is no bet, like, a top 15 player in the league. Leo Phoebish, absolute superstar.
The Indiana Fever suffered another devastating collapse, surrendering yet another substantial second-half advantage in their matchup against the New York Liberty, ultimately falling by 14 points. This pattern of squandering commanding positions has become a troubling trademark for the franchise, with this particular instance seeing an 8-point cushion evaporate within mere minutes during the third quarter. Kelsey Mitchell delivered an impressive offensive performance, accumulating 29 points throughout the contest. Her scoring output represented one of the few bright spots in an otherwise disappointing team effort. Mitchell demonstrated consistent effort and engagement, distinguishing herself from several teammates whose contributions fell short of expectations.
Superstar in her role. She had 17 points today. Anytime, if Leo Phoebish doesn't need to score, she doesn't score. But if she needs to score, she does. We saw it in the playoffs last year. She literally just does. She does the right thing. She does the right thing on nearly every possession. The freaking GOAT role player. Stewie stepped up in the fourth. Sabrina Ionescu had 3 points going into the fourth, and then she had 10 straight to basically end the game. John Quell hit some big shots down the stretch.
According to ESPN reports, Caitlin Clark was listed as unavailable due to coach's decision, leaving the team without one of their primary playmakers. This absence placed additional pressure on the remaining roster to maintain competitive intensity against a formidable opponent. Aaliyah Boston's effort level appeared adequate, though her impact remained limited. Natasha Howard's performance raised significant questions, with her on-court decision-making and execution appearing inconsistent and puzzling throughout multiple possessions. Her play resembled a malfunctioning video game character, making erratic choices that defied basketball logic.
To win the game. And then Izzy Harrison. We got cooked by Izzy Harrison. It was the bench as well. Maureen Johannes plus 17. Kennedy Burke plus 14. It was the bench v bench lineups. But we got cooked by Izzy Harrison. Izzy Harrison. Izzy Harrison.
Lexi Hull's extended playing time of 31 minutes became necessary due to other players' unavailability and poor performance. Hull functioned as a serviceable backup option, though her role expanded beyond optimal parameters. Her passing decisions became increasingly problematic, developing into selective distribution patterns that contributed to the team's turnover issues. The Indiana squad committed a staggering 19 turnovers during the game, many resulting from careless passes that sailed directly out of bounds. These unforced errors demonstrated poor concentration and decision-making under pressure, contributing significantly to their eventual defeat.
Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, I'm just in shock. Will this team beat last year's record? No. No. Unless Caitlin is out in 10 days. For 10 days, no. Howard is glitching 2K CPU. She's the glitching CPU in a 2K game. Yeah.
New York Liberty's Leonie Fibich emerged as the standout performer, registering 17 points while exemplifying elite role player execution. Fibich consistently makes optimal decisions on every possession, scoring when necessary and facilitating when appropriate. Her basketball intelligence and situational awareness place her among the league's top 15 players, functioning as a superstar within her defined role. Brianna Stewart elevated her performance during the crucial fourth quarter, providing veteran leadership when the game hung in the balance. Sabrina Ionescu struggled through 3 quarters with minimal scoring impact before exploding for 10 consecutive points to effectively seal the victory.
I actually agree. I actually agree with that. I genuinely agree with that. It is like we won the Commissioner's Cup and thought we were contenders. And we thought we were contenders. But for the Liberty, man, the Liberty trolled for half of this game. Just watch the way the Liberty were playing in the first quarter. Like Natasha Cloud, she was playing on autopilot. Sabrina was playing on autopilot till the fourth.
Jonquil Jones contributed timely baskets during the closing stretch, helping secure the win for New York. The Liberty bench significantly outperformed their Indiana counterparts, with Maureen Johannes posting a plus 17 rating and Kennedy Burke achieving plus 14. This depth advantage proved decisive during critical stretches when starter rotations allowed bench units to compete directly. Izzy Harrison's unexpected contribution caught Indiana off guard as the Liberty Reserve exploited defensive lapses to generate easy scoring opportunities. Harrison's impact highlighted the Fever's inability to maintain focus against less prominent opponents, a recurring theme throughout their season.